Hello, everyone. This is your host, Susan Rosen, and my guest today is Elaine Glass. And she is a coach, and I'm going to let her introduce herself because my guests always do a better job of it than I do. So, welcome, Elaine, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Susan. It's great to be here today. I'm a master life coach. I've helped particularly women for the last decade live the second half of their life much different than the first half, where they can break some rules and have a lot more freedom. And I help them return back to really what their soul's calling is. After we've raised children and taken care of everybody else, now it's time for us. So that's what I do. And I am absolutely over the moon with this type of work.
Yeah, well, and I see you have a new book as well. I can see it there behind you. So we'll talk about that as well today. And so, with the way coaching has changed so much, over the past few years, you and I were kind of talking about that a little bit as well. But, how have you seen the whole coaching scene kind of change? And particularly, for the people that you're working with.
I believe that it's so much more accepted. Years ago, decades ago, it was only for professional sports players that they would have a coach. And so to have a life coach, wow, that sounded pretty extravagant. It ends up that it's actually a wonderful thing that there's so many coaches out there that are willing to help people with their personal lives, their professional lives. And it's not just for professional, high-paying humans anymore. It's really accessible to everybody. And if someone is just a couple of, steps up further along the path than you, and you can gain their insights and wisdom, gosh, why not jump all over that? So, I remember when I first went into life coaching, I did it because I needed help,
Yeah.
because I needed to transform my life. I had become a single mother working full time, living paycheck to paycheck. And I was in a lot of grief and loss over a divorce. I was just trying to help my children, help them through a difficult time, help myself through a difficult time, and move my life forward. Because that's what coaches do. We help people move their lives forward, which I believe creates happiness for people. When we feel stuck, we are not happy. But when we can move our lives forward, that's a game changer. So I believe that it's for everybody now, that it's very affordable. And I have a coach, I've had a business coach, I've had a personal coach for the last decade, and it has moved my life forward in ways that, yes, I now have a book, which I would have been the last person to write a book in my mind, but I have done it because I've had that support.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's have you found that there are particular, I don't know, I don't want to say jobs or that, but are there particular areas where you see that you've been having more clients coming from, particular job descriptions isn't exactly the right word, but
I see a lot of people who want out of corporate America.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
well,
so I have a
that's
lot
good.
of clients who've wanting to, they've been in corporate America for 20 years. They've played by the rules. They've climbed up the corporate ladder. They
Uh-huh.
have a lot of success with that, but it's been
Yeah.
also limiting in a lot of ways, because there have been times where they couldn't climb up the ladder, only if it was based upon somebody else's acknowledgement of them, or just the assessment
Yeah.
of somebody else's perspective. And so they've been very, very limited, and they want to just like break out. It's like breaking out of prison, it feels like. And so I help them break out of prison and, and tune back in to what I call their soul's voice. And that's why I wrote the book, Get Quiet, because we have to get quiet to be able to tune in and be that tuning fork to know why we're here. When we get into later years of life, that question, that ancient old question, who am I, really, really begins to speak loudly. We really want to know, who am I and why am I here? And so that's what I do. I help people be able to hear that voice, that wise voice. It's almost always maybe in the back of their minds been whispering, but now it's a roar. Now they really want those questions answered.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, as you were, excuse me, explaining, going through that, the other thing that came to my mind as well is I think a lot of people get to a certain point, whether it's in business or whatever, right? Whatever field they're in. And the question that comes up is, now what? I've done this, I've been there, I've done this, all this kind of stuff. Now what do I do?
That is exactly the major question. Now what? Now what? Because think of it, we have so much wisdom, we have so much experience, but it's like, well, now what do I do with all of that?
That's right.
And there's so much to do with all of that. I mean, there is so much. It's limitless to do with that. I just had a client who was in corporate America. She's 53 years old, and she got to the point of, now what? And she'd always had these whispers of being a travel agent, and she's from India originally. So I took her out to my day-long retreat, just she and I. She got quiet. We did the method that I work with called the Get Quiet Way. And she heard the whispers of her own soul say, travel agent, it's time.
Wow.
So now she left corporate America, and now 18 months later, she has a booming travel business with helping people navigate their travel to India, which is very, very complicated, as you know. It's a huge country. There are amazing sights to see. There's vaccinations that you need. There's so many things that someone needs to prepare, but she is just having the time of her life, living in her purpose, and doing the second half of life her way.
Wow, how fun. That sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what happens. This is what happens when we reach a point where we say, there's got to be more. There's something missing in our lives.
Yeah.
And when we get quiet enough to know what that something that's missing is, it's generally one thing. And that is, we are missing ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, and especially I think even more so for women, right? Because we've always been raised, first off, for a lot of us, the expectation was you get married and had kids, and then what you do after that is kind of your own. Then you can actually go and do something you enjoy. But now it's kind of turned a little bit, and
That's
so
right.
women are out there and about and saying, no, you don't understand. I'm doing this because I like it, not because I have to.
We can do both. We can do both. I personally was a stay-at-home mom, but when I was married, but then when I completed that relationship, I was a single mom. So I was forced to not only be a mother, but also have a career. So a lot of times we don't choose to do both at the same time. But it does add to our lives. And I know my children saw my work ethic and they learned a lot from that, but also they
Yeah.
saw me in healthcare and the ability to care for other human beings. So they learned a lot by me working. And now, though, they see me living my purpose, living not just a career, but a
Yeah.
passion, a big passion. And so now they're inspired. So I believe that kids are great imitators, and as parents, we need to show them something great to imitate. And
Yeah.
that was my goal with my kids.
Yeah. No, that's so, so very true. Absolutely. And that's really neat that you were able to, you know, that circumstances gave you the opportunity really to go and do that.
It absolutely did. It absolutely did.
Yeah.
And so the other thing that I see a lot in my coaching practice is how much women end up by midlife having held so much. So I really
Yeah.
feel like we're hold-it-alls, that we are holding so much. We're holding people's emotions, we're holding certain outcomes, we're holding grief and loss by the age of 50. I mean, we're holding so much, and now is the time to let it all go.
Yeah.
And so that has been my work, is to help people release the heaviness that's weighing them down. And so there are various aspects in our lives where we're holding things in particular. And those are the certain paths that I talk about in Get Quiet.
Okay. You want to give us a preview of
Sure. Well,
that?
the first place that we hold
Mm-hmm.
is our bodies.
Okay.
So the first path along the 7 paths that I talk about is to nurture our bodies. Up until now, we have held so much. And so now is the time to release and to nurture these beautiful bodies, especially as we get older. We do have to take care of ourselves in ways that we never used to have to. So it's this waking up, paying attention to the health of our bodies. So that's the first path. And right there, when you start addressing things in your physical body, you lighten your load so much. The second path, second thing that we look at in terms of where people are holding and weighing heavy on them, is their environment. How can we take care and get in control of our environment? And that not only just means your office space, your drawers, your cleaning out your closets, things that you're just stuck to and holding on to for no particular reason. But again, this is dense, stuck energy. And when we don't address this dense, stuck energy, we feel stuck. And we are the product of our environment. So how can we move our life forward? Let's get rid of the stuff we don't need. I've had clients and I've actually gone with them to outside storage units. First, they have to find the key because they've lost the key.
I know that feeling. Yeah.
They've been paying monthly for years. They've
Yes.
forgotten what's in those storage units. And a lot of times it's so cathartic because there'll be letters and photos and things from your past. And this is that lightening up that is so cathartic. And so it's really about cleaning and clearing your environment. It shifts a lot of stuck energy and creates that lightness that we're really looking for. So those are the first 2 paths.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. So then what?
Then the third path is cleaning and clearing the mind.
Okay.
This
Even
is the
more
longest.
important.
This is the longest path. And I don't know if you've ever walked a labyrinth, but the book is based upon the metaphor of walking a labyrinth, which is an ancient old contemplative tool. And you walk the labyrinth and you get to the center, which really is the center of us. It's finding out, who am I? And so this is all based upon walking a beautiful labyrinth. And the third path is the outer ring of the labyrinth, which is the longest path, which, like I said, is the most difficult. And that's when we deal with grief, loss,
Mm.
disappointment, patterns and behaviors that no longer serve us? Are we judging? Are we angry? Are we sad? These are really dealing with the mindset of, are we positive? Are we negative? Are we being present to our lives?
Mm-hmm.
So that is what the third path is all about, is getting present.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Huh. Okay. Do you want to go through all of them or
Sure, I can go through as
okay.
many as you would like.
Okay. No, I think it's interesting. I think it gives everyone a preview, if you want to call it that, of your book, and they can say, hey, this is really neat. I'm gonna have to go run out and get it.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
the first three paths are more of the doing. So getting quiet, a lot of people think, well, that's sitting in quiet meditation. And this is not what getting quiet is. Getting up to the truth of your life in a very gentle way, and knowing in your quiet what to look at and what to start to address to wake up.
Okay. Okay.
So we've woken up our bodies, we've woken up our environments, we've woken up our minds. And the next path is getting rest. And particularly for women around perimenopause or menopause, it's a pause for a reason. We are pausing for a reason, and nature has it that way. So this is getting rest and receiving. Instead of the giving that we've done and nurturing, now it's, I'm going to receive now. So that's anything from receiving help, able to ask for help, receiving guidance in your quiet and trusting it. So this is all about receiving. It's a beautiful, beautiful path. And it was the path that really was the game changer in my own life. And I see with my clients, because we as women and men, we don't pause. We don't create
Not
rest.
these days.
Yes.
No.
But this is the game changer. This is what changes everything. Yeah.
Interesting.
So once we receive, then we can ground. The next path is grounding. Grounding everything that we've just learned, everything we've received that's in us, we can ground ourselves in all of that and really receive and accept it all. And these would be new ideas. These could be insights that, create a lot of excitement, new passions that we didn't think we had. This is a time where people journal a lot because they really want to be able to get what's in their heads out on paper. And it's very, very, very healthy. And by the way, I'm also into energy medicine. So each path is associated with an energy point in our bodies. So as we are reading the book, you're also healing energetically as well.
That's good.
Yes. The next path after grounding is all about moving our life forward. And so the energy point is our legs, and particularly the knees. And so this is where we really start filling in the vision of our dreams, being able to really dream again. I've asked so many people, what are your dreams? What are your goals? What do you want for the second half of your life? I would say 87% do not know.
I'm sure.
Yeah, they have lost their ability to dream for themselves. So in this quiet, they're reclaiming those dreams again. And it's really, really beautiful to see.
Oh, yeah. That must be wonderful for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the path after the dreaming is our intuition kicks in. And especially for women, like the intuition colors in all the dreams. It tells you who to partner with, what opportunities to say yes and no to. It tells you exactly how those dreams are going to pan out. And so a lot of times, particularly for women, we think, well, we've lost our intuition. It's been so noisy and chaotic. I can't even access my intuition anymore. Do I even have it? Did I ever
Did I
have
have it?
it?
I was just going to say, did I ever have it?
Did I
Right.
ever have it? And this is when, particularly for women, when we can tune into our intuition, there's a femininity that we feel again. Because a lot of times we've been in a masculine mode, a go, go, go mode. But
Yeah.
for women, when we can settle into our intuition, we feel beautiful again.
Oh,
And
yeah.
every woman wants to feel beautiful again.
Yeah.
After
Or they may
intuition,
never, I was going to say, or a lot of women never felt beautiful. So it might be the first time.
yes.
Yeah.
And then you get to the center. You get to the center of the labyrinth. You get to the center of yourself. And you feel a power within you that you haven't felt, maybe ever. You feel like yourself again. You feel one with everything. It is an amazing feeling when you get to that center and what I call the truth of who you are, because now you are really connected and tuned in to your soul's voice and your purpose. And we all have a purpose on the planet, and it's up to us to discover what that is.
Yeah. Yes.
And those would be the paths.
Wow.
Those are the paths. And so this is the work I do. I take people on retreats. And we do these paths, and we journal a lot, and we laugh a lot, and we work through a lot of things. And it's a one-on-one experience. So it's just one person, one soul at a time.
Wow. Wow. Boy, that sounds wonderful.
It is.
Yeah.
A lot of times as women, we have been helping, nurturing, listening to everybody else.
Yes.
And now it's your time. Now it's your time.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I think we all know that feeling. Absolutely.
And you're worth it, and you deserve it.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. So with the book, is that something then that people can just use the book and go through all the different stages themselves? Or
Absolutely. The book is laid out in exactly the way that we just spoke about.
okay.
And it's exactly laid out in the paths and the energy points. And so just as if you were walking a labyrinth, so you're reading the book and you're healing at the same time, because it's just laid out exactly like if you were walking your own labyrinth. But if you do want to walk your own labyrinth, you can find one near you at labyrinthlocator.com.
Oh, how neat.
Oh, there are thousands of labyrinths around the country and around the world. And if you can't find one near you, the book has a diagram where you can just trace the labyrinth with your finger, and that's also very effective.
Oh, wow. How neat. Okay. Well, my goodness. So number one, how long has the book been out?
The book releases April 30th. So you can pre-order it now and get the download of the first chapter, and also a 6-minute guided message from me, which will be very inspiring, I think.
How
And
neat.
you can find that at getquiet.com, and you'll have those bonuses available.
Okay. And then how long does it usually take for each of the steps?
Well, immediately someone will locate themselves on a particular path. Like if you haven't maybe addressed some certain things around nurturing your body, you'll be like, oh, that's that chapter I need to stay with, for a little bit longer. And so I've had people, read. They will read it as they find called to read it. And they will stay on a path for as long as they feel called to stay on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way I teach it, though, is we take a path each week.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. We'll take a path each week and focus on that path.
Okay.
And that really helps, really instill the principles
Uh-huh.
into somebody, but you don't have to take a week. You can take a day or even
Whatever
a
it
month.
takes. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no prescription. It's really whatever you feel called to do.
Oh, how neat. And I assume as well that, it's not like you're only allowed to go through it once, right?
That's right. That's
Because
right. So
life
you
changes.
absolutely. And sometimes you're nurturing your body at the same time as you're cleaning out your closet. So
There you go.
yeah, it's just a waking up to what we can be doing in our quiet time, what needs to be looked
Mm-hmm.
at, because I do believe that the reason why we get sick, the reason why we lose our way, the reason why we get stuck in life is because we've looked away at the truth of our lives and what we
Mm.
haven't addressed because we've primarily been taking care of others. So
Yeah.
this is our time. This is our time. And this is a gentle way to wake up. It's not a jolting way. And it's a very gentle way to look to see, well, this is what I need to do next. So it's a really wonderful path.
Uh-huh. Oh no, it sounds wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. That'd be wow. Okay. So out of curiosity, how many people just in your regular practice, how many people do you usually deal with, and where can they find you, and all of that kind of information?
Well, I've had hundreds go through this retreat,
Mm.
so it's my life's work to get
Yeah.
people to get quiet and to help them in this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's what lights me up. It's what I know is my purpose and my soul's calling, because when I got quiet, I heard that this was it.
Uh-huh.
And so I do all of these retreats in Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
and people can find me at elaineglass.net.
Okay. Okay. Great. That sounds good. Um, yeah, I'm just trying to think, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about, or that
Oh, I would
think we
like
should?
to say that
Uh-huh.
when we get quiet, we will know that we are always supported, that we're
Mm-hmm.
never alone, that it's not scary, that
Mm-hmm.
when we do hear these messages in quiet, particularly when we're walking a labyrinth or just going out for a beautiful walk in nature,
Yeah.
that when these messages come,
Mm.
they're loving guidance. And so it's not something to be afraid of. You're not in solitude. This is not meditating in darkness. This is really, how can you engage back into the world again,
Okay.
fully expressed in the way that you're meant to be expressed? And wouldn't that be a great way to live the second half of life?
Yeah, it certainly would. It certainly would. So just out of curiosity, um, can people who are younger than 50 and also use the book to
Well,
get
I
themselves
teach this
clear?
to teenagers, so it's yeah.
Ah,
This is something that I think young people desperately need right now, is this
yeah.
awareness, so that they will always be walking in their truth. They will
Mm,
always be able to be awake and alert
mm-hmm.
to what needs to be addressed and not look away at their
Yeah.
lives. So yeah, this is as young as
Yeah.
14 that I have been teaching.
Wow. Wow, that's great. Yeah, because what came to my mind was, um, there may be some 50-year-old women who might be helpful to share the book or buy a second copy for their kids.
Yes, yes, I agree. And the people that I've taken through the retreats
Uh-huh.
usually will have another younger family member come after them. And it's wonderful because now a whole family is on the same page of,
Yeah.
keeping everybody accountable and
Mhm.
knowing the paths. So it's a wonderful thing for a family to be aware of and to
Oh,
enjoy
yeah.
together.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we all know that that teenagers and 20 somethings all have their own issues. They may be a little different than our issues, but they definitely have their own issues. At least I did.
They do, and life has
Yeah.
gotten very loud for all
Yes.
of us.
Hmm.
So how do we quiet those voices? How do we quiet the chaos? How do we lessen the heaviness and the holding it all? And
Yes.
what is ours to hold and what isn't ours to hold? And that's all very discerning. So when you go through these
Hmm.
paths, you will be
Yeah.
releasing the heaviness that you're carrying. Because the only
Wow.
way we can really get to that soul's voice, that wise, wise voice,
Hmm.
is when we are the lightness of being ourselves.
Mm.
That's when we
Yeah.
can tune in and be the clearest to even get the messages that we need. So right
Hmm.
now we're looking so much outside ourselves for those answers. And
Yes.
I'm saying the answers are within, but where is that within? Follow the get quiet paths and you will reach that within.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. 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 You're giving them a tool to help them to get there. Yeah, I think that's great for sure. Especially because, even as we were saying, as we were talking, it's plus minus 50 is is a very can be a very confusing time because life changes and your body changes and there's all these things going on and the kids are getting older and they may be leaving or I mean it's just um
Yeah, so this
need
is
all the help.
self-care for you.
Yes.
This is prescription self-care for you. If you don't know what to do next and you don't know what's next, follow these paths
Yeah.
and you will transform in a way that you will know your next best step. You will
Hmm.
know what you want to
Yeah.
do for your second half of life. It is so very exciting.
Yeah, it sounds like it, definitely. Definitely. So okay, well, great. I will put all of the relevant information into the show notes for everybody. And I'm assuming it's available for pre-order,
Yes, you can
probably.
go
Yeah.
to anywhere you buy your books, Amazon or getquiet.com and get the
Right.
the
Yeah.
limited time bonuses. They're right there for you to download.
Okay. All right. So that's great. So I'm going to um, end this as I end all of my podcasts, which is that neither of us are doctors, and this is not to be seen as medical advice. And if you are having a problem that you need medical advice, go see your own doctor or find another doctor, but not us. And thank you very much for coming on. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure for me as well.